If you want to see me depot the Nubian by Juvia's Place, then stick around. All right, today we are going to depot the Nubian by Juvia's Place. This is an OG palette from the brand. You will notice that there are no names on this palette. I do love the artwork though. That started off right at the beginning with some beautiful packaging. I want to depot these 12 and I'm going to be putting them in with another palette in this magnetized palette. You'll see in here is the Saharan. If you haven't seen the Saharan depotting, I will put a thumbnail and a link to it if you are so curious in the cards. And I'm hoping to do very much the same as I did for the Saharan with the this Nubian. Now, the one thing that I will note is in the Saharan, I had a couple of mattes that wanted to start cracking on me. And I do notice that there are a few mattes in this palette, and I'm going to be very, very careful as I depot them to really try not to twist the pans. The metallics and the shimmers are a lot more resilient to depotting than the mattes, which tend to be a drier formula. So first off, I'm going to free up the base from the outside packaging because this is cardboard, and so we will basically be able to remove the layers of the packaging in order to get access to the pans. So let's start that right now. What I'm looking for is areas in the packaging that are just naturally looser than other areas, meaning that there's less glue in a given spot. Not forcing it or anything, I'm just figuring out where I can put the knife that can most easily go in. So the base is really glued down quite well. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, I think we are there. Yes, we are. Okay, so now I have the base freed up from the external packaging. I'm going to put this aside. And we are going to focus on this. I'm going to flip it upside down and free up all of the edges so that I can start wedging a blade in between the layers and free up the shadows. Okay, now that I have freed up every side, I'm just going to free up on this side, I'm guessing, the couple of magnets that are on each side that help the palette close. So we'll take care of that. And they come right off. And here we go, the two magnets are freed up. Now, since there are no names, I'm not concerned about that, but I will keep the palette in this orientation with the deep brown on the bottom right-hand corner. So this will be pan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on in this palette. Now I'm going to flip it upside down again and get between the second and third layer to start freeing up the pans. Wherever I'm finding resistance, I just move on because it will give at some point. There we go. Now we have a lot more access to the pans from the second and third levels, and we're going to start freeing them up. And this was one of the mats I was telling you about, so I'm just being very, very careful in how I am removing the pan, just so it has a fair chance of not cracking on me. Okay, another mat that I was particularly careful with, and it looks like it's doing okay. There's a tiny bit of something going on the edge here, but I think we're okay. I had forgotten to check if these are magnetized or not. I was pretty sure they weren't, but you want to check because if you can avoid having to use one of these stickers, that's a good thing. All right, almost done with the second row. And one more row to go. Okay, the shadows are all freed up. They've got their magnet on the back. They're all in the correct order. I double checked that before numbering them from 1 to 12. And I'm pretty happy with this. We're going to transfer them into the magnetic palette along with the other palette that I just depotted, the Saharan. And let's see what it looks like. This is going to be their new home, so I'm going to try to get the Nubian down here. We'll see how it goes. Okay, here we go. We've got the first 2 rows down here, and then the last row basically like this across the top. I'm pretty happy with this. I think that the shadows look really good, and overall I'm happy with the experience of depotting a couple of 12 pan of Juvia's Place. Here is all the trash going in the fireplace, and I will be keeping the outside packaging because I have plans for it. Well, that is it. The Nubian is officially depotted out of its original container. And there were a couple mattes that were problematic, but if I find that they're starting to flake off, I'll just repress them. I have done that with many mattes over time. Single pans are obviously more vulnerable than in palette form. That's an understood kind of risk when you depot. And I'm looking forward to using these shadows in all sorts of ways, whether it's quad of the month, whether it's duping series. There are so many different ways to use those individual shadows. If you want to see swatches for this palette in particular, I will put the swatches video right here. It was quite a fun palette to swatch, and despite the fact that it's very neutral, some of the swatches brought out more texture, more variation than I think the colors in the pan might suggest. And also for me, the colored background has an effect as well on how I perceive the colors. So it's nice to see them depotted, at least for my purposes. And as a matter of fact, if you want to see all the different palettes that I've depotted, many different brands, I will put the depotting playlist right there for you to peruse at your leisure. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it every single time. And I do look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.